Welcome to the Political Insider. Just remember, you had better be a subscriber, or else you're not going to get this great information as it comes out. So we have decided to go back to get the views of our original Political Insider, Kuhle Maseko, host of 10 Minutes with Kuhle. Kuhle, welcome back.
Thank you, Mike. Always great to be back. I enjoy it here. It's my home. Yeah.
Right, so it's time to talk to you because at one point you were inside the City of Tshwane legislature, and there's all sorts of stuff going on. It seems like Joburg got a break because of G20. It's been City of Tshwane's turn. There's a strange guy as the Deputy Mayor, Eugene Modise. Tell us about him.
So Eugene Modise, aka Bonzo, I kid you not, it is his nickname. He is the Deputy Mayor and doubles down rather as the MMC for finance, right? So it's so strange that you'd put a compromised figure such as Eugene Modise to be number one, your lead of government, and number two, MMC, so lead of government business, and number two, MMC of finance, right? He's a guy that is linked to certain dubious Contracts, especially with his security company called Patriotic Protection Services, right? Which has been dealing with the city. I mean, Eugene Modise has constantly over and over gone against the councillor's code of conduct in many ways, right? This has been proven. Lately, we had a report from Ngube Incorporated, which was sitting on the speaker's desk, who the mayor also had access to, about Eugene Modise and his corrupt dealings. And the mayor has done nothing. She has kept quiet. In fact, she's just, I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah, but it's kind of difficult for her because let's not forget they are a minor member of the coalition. And the major member of the coalition in that coalition is the ANC and the EFF and Patriotic Alliance, right? They drag ActionSA over the line, and they insisted to switch sides if they got the mayoralty.
Yes.
That's why we've got Nasiphi Moya as the mayor, Dr. Nasiphi Moya from ActionSA. And that's always the difficulty in coalition politics, is that you're there, you've staked your reputation on the coalition. You don't want to be called puppet mayor, but it starts becoming hard not to call puppet mayor because it's all fine when it's fine. It's not so good when it's not good. And she kept quiet because the ANC are the big party. Is that right?
True. And remembering the fact that her boss technically reports to her, who's Eugene Modise. It's quite literal. I mean, the ANC is the lead of the coalition, yet they technically report to you. So guess what? Obviously, whatever Nasiphi takes out has to be co-signed by the ANC, has to be sort of rubber stamped that, oh, did you do 1, 2, 3? Oh, it's fine. Okay, you can take it out. Everything has to go through the ANC whenever it comes to Nasiphi. She is a puppet mayor. That is not a secret. Let us also consider the fact of, well, ANC in Tshwane was supposed to have their regional conference this past weekend. It could not sit because of the factions between Eugene Modise, the deputy mayor, and Franz Boshelo, who seems to be aligned to Fikile Mbalula. So the factions have already started. Mind you, this is the third time the conference has been postponed this year. And it's postponed for December. I don't think it's going to sit in December. It will probably sit next year because the fighting is so stiff. And mind you, like I've always said on this platform, that the results of that conference will inform who is mayor after the conference. If Eugene Modise does come back, Nasiphi's seat is safe. But if Franz Boshelo comes in, her seat is definitely not safe.
Is that because Boshelo wants to be mayor himself?
Yes.
Okay.
Simple reason.
Yeah. But now that's not the only problems in the city of Tshwane, is it? There's this court case or this hearing from the commission about back pay.
Yeah.
Tell us what the story, to summarize, is that there was a nationwide agreement for public servants pay increases, which as a city or as an entity, you can either say we're in, or you can actually appeal. And the city actually appealed saying we are broke, we can't. This was under Mayor Cilliers Brink.
Yes.
can't pay for the increases and won that particular case. And then after he was removed, one of the pledges was that the back pay would be paid. Is that,
Yes.
I got it correct?
Yes. So you have to remember, and I think the best place to start off is the city does not have an extra cent on its name. It does not even have R1 extra to do something that is outside of the budget.
Yeah. Now, just sorry to sketch the scene. The city was looted during COVID when it was under
Administration
for no good reason.
Yes. I mean, there was
Who put it under administration?
the ANC provincial government.
Okay.
And this was done during a time which also did match elections. You come back, you ask yourself, how is it that we go from having a budget surplus in some cases to having this huge deficit, right, that totals billions of rands? Because no one was running. Well, no active local government politician was running it because it was under administration by provincial government. There were administrators who came in to run the affairs of the city of Tshwane. Now, we can park that issue and look at the fact that the back pay is allegedly will total up to about 2 billion rand, which the city doesn't have. It doesn't have. And this was what was raised by Mayor Silas Brink during his tenure, to say that we understand that we have to increase salaries, but if we are going to do this, which will actually result in a financial strain or financial burden on the citizens, because that will mean we have to increase the rates and taxes on the citizens if we are going to increase salaries. It's also important to remember that the same ActionSA that does accuse the Democratic Alliance of saying that you are why we're in this position today is the same ActionSA that voted to freeze salaries twice. Not once, but twice. Their councillors voted for this. Twice. Now, I'm very sorry to say, but the shit has hit the fan, quite literally. As in, not that it's just going to cost the city 2 billion rand. Now, the city is going to need an additional 400 million year on year to cover for these increased salaries, which it doesn't have at all. You remember that we had the city cleansing levy, which AfriForum took to court. And, well, the DA was vehemently against.
Who put that in?
It was ActionSA, the city cleansing levy.
And that was just quite simply a levy out of the blue,
Yes.
thumbsuck number.
Yes.
The idea being that that if you're not collecting your own refuse, then we're going to charge you a levy anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, and it just kind of got out of control because how do you know who's...
Yeah. Because people got double taxed in a way. If you live in an estate or you live in a gated community, you'll find that oftentimes the city never collected your refuse. It would be a private contractor that would do it, but you'd still have to pay for a service that you're, in a nutshell, never getting in the first place. So you've got to look at all these cases. The city of Tshwane only got a funded budget through that city levy, which was illegal in and of itself. It has been taken to the High Court by AfriForum, which AfriForum won the case, by the way. And then the city of Tshwane decided to take it to the appeals court, where it's currently under appeal. And the city of Tshwane have actually gone back to charging the levy, while it is an appeal, because you technically can charge it since it's being appealed. But the risk is when the result comes back and it says that, yes, this is illegal again, what's going to happen is the city of Tshwane will be forced to pay back all residents that paid that city cleansing levy. And it's going to pay back with money it doesn't have. The city of Tshwane is under serious financial burdens at the moment. We've got corruption allegations that are coming out. I mean, just recently, like as we're speaking about earlier on, the Triotic Protection Services has costed the city of Tshwane 170 million rand. The whole saga on its own has cost the city of Tshwane 170 million, which it doesn't have. So it's not looking good. All the, superficial stuff that Mayor Nasiphi Moya goes around portraying is not what's happening on the ground. You've still got water issue. Residents of Hammanskraal are going into their second or third Christmas, if I'm not mistaken, without clean water year on year. According to the last administration, if my memory serves me correct, which ActionSA was part of, and I was still in ActionSA back then, Hammanskraal residents were meant to have clean water by now, according to the timeline. That timeline has just been thrown away. No one is focusing on the timeline. Now we've got salary increases that are coming up. And just as a parting shot on this point is, you will remember that many ANC-run municipalities often have salary increments that are way higher than inflation. The City of Tshwane once had a salary increase of close to 18%. Close to 18%. At a point in time. So people's salaries, I mean, you're one day earning 1 million, next year earning 1,180,000 rand.
Nice work if you can get it. And wow, so there's a lot of court action going on right now, which could really change things up in City of Tshwane. And this is ahead of what is going to be quite a contested election in next year's local government elections, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is.
What is the current layout in terms of the sort of percentages in the parties?
So currently, the DA predicts that it can get close to 40%, 40 to 45. That is the target. And it's not shocking because the DA has achieved 41% to 42 back in 2016. So it wouldn't be too difficult to imagine. But also the ANC is in decline. MK is coming up. The only thing that is going to stifle MK's growth in the City of Tshwane is the lack of Zulu voters, quite honestly speaking. EFF is struggling to hold its ground, especially in the townships. Now, the interesting thing is, if you have to look at elections, especially by-elections, case by case, is the ANC's strongholds in terms of townships in the City of Tshwane is Mamelodi, and Mamelodi alone. We can't include Hammanskraal. And in the last election, ANC got about 54%. Now, if you look at the DA stronghold, the DA stronghold are the Pretoria East suburbs, is Centurion. And in the DA stronghold, they get about 80-odd%, 80 to 90%. So now you sort of realize that it's going to be the politics of numbers, not of geography. It's going to be about who comes out to vote. If people in Mamelodi don't come out to vote, that is really going to hurt the ANC severely. It is. I mean, because the DA is growing in townships. That has been shown. You look at ActionSA in places such as Ekhuruleni and the city of Johannesburg. I think more and more you realize that ActionSA is becoming more of a regional party than being a national party. What do I mean by that is ActionSA can't survive without the image of Herman Mashaba and Nasiphi Moya. I mean, take those two off the party. What's the reason to vote for ActionSA in the first place? So you look at the numbers. They've got Xolani Khumalo coming out. They recently had a by-election in, is it Mayville or Mayfair, wherever it is, where they came out number 3, not too far from the EFF. And they seem to be a bit competitive. They do seem as if they'll still be around in terms of Gauteng politics. The one party that I think is going to struggle quite a bit, and the numbers are proving it, is MK, especially when it comes to the Gauteng politics and KZN politics. MK has not been in the news for winning by-elections of late. No. You actually even forget that they exist. The only story that came up there is that Zuma's daughter has been kicked out of parliament. But the EFF is struggling. So this election, or this upcoming election, the only party that seems to be ready for the election, quite honestly speaking, seems to be the Democratic Alliance.
Yeah, and of course, the cat was thrown amongst pigeons with Helen Zille announcing her candidacy here in Johannesburg, because it's led to a flood of mayoral announcements.
Yeah.
So the DA has already announced Elias Brink as their candidate. Mm-hmm. And the ANC has said that they're going to break with tradition and actually announce who their mayoral candidates are. And whereas their tradition was that it wasn't a rule, but basically whoever was the regional head would be the candidate for mayor, or generally the mayor. Mm. Now, there's a fight there, and then if they bring somebody from outside, the last time they tried that in the City of Tshwane, there was rioting, wasn't it?
Yeah. Togo Didiza,
the Speaker of Parliament, was brought in. Mm. and very, very unpopular with voters to bring somebody in from the outside.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. I mean, you've got to realize the change in politics. I mean, I was shocked when these are just allegations, right? We'll hear it here for the first time, where the VF Plus seem that they will announce Willie Spies. I hope I got his name correct, as the mayoral candidate for Pretoria, City of Tshwane. Now, for those that don't know Willie Spies, he is the former CEO of Pretoria FM. He also used to be a member of parliament back in the days, but his last major role was to be CEO of Pretoria FM, which is a big Afrikaans radio station. Now, the big thing that you notice is you sort of notice the national leaders are starting to trickle down, or national veterans trickling down to local government in order for parties to just try and survive. Helen Zille coming to run for mayor of Johannesburg. I literally once said on my own podcast, I don't see how the EFF can survive such. I would actually even think the EFF would want to make a call to make Julius Malema mayoral candidate, because why would you have him just sitting in parliament? At least become mayor, become more effective, be in government, you know? And I do see that happening. You once made the joke of saying that Panyaza Lesotho would have to run for mayor of Joburg to sort of combat Helen Zille. But what the DA has done was actually light a fire beneath the asses of all these parties to say, okay, guys, we've got to have a deep leadership relook at what is the material we have. And let's be quite honest, Mike. The material that we have in local government is people that say they want the blood of a boer. That's Obakeng Ramuburu, the EFF leader of Tshwane. That is the material that you have. You've got the material of Eugene Modise, aka Bonzo, someone who is involved in dubious contracts. You've got the material of people like Dr. Nasiphi Moya, who took money. She literally got money for a trip that she never went to. And, well, she said she'd pay it back. She seems like she did. She got overpaid at a point in time, close to 270,000 Rand. She has to pay that back. But the bottom line is she took it. She took the money. These are the leaders that you have, the shameless leaders that we have in local government. Dada Murero, people that can say, don't expect too much from me. The bottom line is the DA has brought a candidate who was recognized as the best mayor in the world at a point in time. A lady who has done so much for the Western Cape. Now, she's coming in, she's running for the mayor, or for the mayoral chains for the city of Johannesburg. Do we think that parties like ANC, who still want to remain relevant, will still have a Dada Murero who says, no, please, don't look at me as the guy that will improve things? No ways.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Now, just in closing, we've had some fun and games in another area that you keep a close eye on, and that's in the KZN area. We know that there's been big question marks over whether the KwaZulu-Natal government of provincial unity would hold, because that is a wafer-thin situation where one seat decides that, and it's available to the highest bidder, and that's the seat that belongs to the National Freedom Party, the NFP, which is an offshoot from the Inkatha Freedom Party.
Yeah.
And miraculously, somehow, they got one seat in the provincial legislature, which is now the swing seat, and they are cashing in literally and figuratively. They're available to the highest bidder. That's what you get when you vote for small parties, is you get somebody who's prepared to sell your vote to the highest bidder. But is that coalition going to hold? Because there's a motion of no confidence against the KZN Premier.
Well, Mike, it's difficult to tell, quite honestly. And that is because on the mere fact of the dynamics at national level as well as provincial level. And that is because the MK has got about 37 seats. The GPU's at 41 seats, but that's 41 with the NFP.
Yes.
Now,
and just to recap, the MK gets 37 of their own,
yes,
and 2 of the EFF.
EFF, yes, 12.
So it gives them 39.
And then if the NFP has already said they aren't going to, they actually are the ones that are going to be voting with MK,
which will make it
40-40. Right, 40-40. Now, in such cases, what happens is there will be constant revotes. There will be a revote because, and here's the real risk actually, before we get to even the revote, is the fact that ANC public representatives, there's never ever 100% attendance. I'll be honest with you. I mean, anytime you go to whether it's be a council, legislature, parliament, there's always someone sick or someone mourning or someone on a business or party duty from the ANC. You know, they've never got a full house of attendees. So there is that risk that someone could be sick on that day. But trust me, they will fetch them from hospital if they are sick just to come and vote. So there will be constant revotes, and there will come a point in time where what will happen is there will be a coin toss.
Yeah.
I kid you not. There's going to be a coin toss to decide if the number keeps on being equal.
Yeah.
It eventually has to be decided through a coin toss, so it's going to be heads or tails.
Yeah.
I guess Zuma loves heads, but yeah.
But now, just to go back to the actual motion of no confidence and the actual performance in KZN, is there a problem with the performance of the provincial government in KZN? I mean, are they doing a good job or are they doing a bad job? It seems like in KZN, you either get bad or worse governance. You never get good governance.
Well, look, I think it's so tricky to tell. And that is because of who's managing what department. You look at the Department of Health is still run by the ANC. Nothing much will change there. I think they were actually the worst candidates to run the department. You've got...
Listen, we've learned from the commissions, they are staying very close to health, because it turns out that they are shamelessly, happily looting money from hospitals. It's unbelievable.
True. We've got Department of Transport, and all, which is also run by the ANC and all sorts. Now, the interesting thing is word on the streets, or I'm not going to say word on the street, but the feeling on the ground is people don't find the relevance in the IFP. I've heard people saying this to me before, and I'm being quite objective about it, is people have said that they don't see the reason that IFP is even part of government. They find it a useless partner in government. And I'll be quite honest with you. There's been times where the IFP didn't know certain rules or the fact that this is how government works. And I've heard this from people that are part of the GPU who have told me that there was a time where they drafted a budget. IFP agreed to it, until they realized, oh shoot, you're actually removing some of the benefits from this budget. They didn't know that this is what was actually going on. So to an extent, their naivety is also good, but they don't belong in government. Same as the MK. But here's the important reality now. Here's the on a more serious note, the very important part is Umkhonto weSizwe. The members themselves that are in the legislature and outside of the legislature have got a lot of interests in these departments. And a lot of that stuff has been blocked by members of the GPU. One such has been Francois Rogers. Francois Rogers actively wants to remove the monarchy's budget from the KZN budget. He says the monarchy should be its own entity that relies on itself, that generates its own revenue, and should not be taking any form of money from the provincial government, which I do agree with.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's been a long-standing bribe in the KZN area.
And you'll remember that also recently, another issue why there is this whole motion of no confidence and a big fight behind it, one of the reasons is the king requested for, was it a new mansion or a new house or whatever to be built? Was it in Umhlanga, allegedly? And the DA refused and said, no, we can't do that. There is no budget for such. You'll remember that the Department of Public Works, which is also run by the DA, has also had its own issues in terms of where the MEC, Martin May, who's doing a very good job there, he actually got a clean audit for the first time in many years. That department got a clean audit. What you call it, he said, certain provincial assets are being used by people that shouldn't be using them because they belong to the government, but they're using them as if it belongs to themselves. People are being held accountable. Corruption is coming out. In places such as the city of Msunduzi, which is Pietermaritzburg, for those that don't know, Zuma's relatives, his blood relatives, we're talking about nephews and nieces, have got links to government, links to contracts. They are benefiting huge time in places such as Msunduzi. The IFP, there's allegations of cash and guns being, stuffed underneath IFP municipalities up in the north. So when I look at this whole situation, at what's going on, it's literally a fight for power, a fight for money. MK can't sit too long in the opposition. They've got promises they've made to people. They've got big donors, mind you, who run mines in that part of the world. We're speaking about coal mines, who backed them and are waiting for their return on investment.
Yeah. So it looks like a complete and utter mess in KZN, and it's going to continue. It's been a complete and utter mess from the start. We must remember that the ANC bought originally King Zwelithini from the IFP.
Yeah.
And the tradition continues that Zulu King has always been for sale, and with him comes a lot of votes. So a real mess, something to keep an eye on, but it looks like something is going to change in KZN. Sure. How, just on a closing note with KZN, how is the Premier doing? What is he like?
Well, okay, so I've met the Premier before a couple of times. He is an interesting character, you know. I do think he is, well, sorry to say, but he's doing the best he can do in these tough circumstances. He's been a Premier that has held his administration to account at times. I've seen it myself. He's a Premier that is much better than the last Premier. And much better than who was supposed to become Premier now, which was Boniso Duma. Trust me, worst guy you can have as Premier. He is a guy that understands how government works. He was Mayor before being Premier. There are a couple of projects that he has spearheaded. We're looking at a couple of tenders, which he has scrapped. There were tenders in the education department in terms of feeding schemes, which he has gotten a hold of and cut wherever there were illicit tenders. But I do think time will tell. He has only been Premier for, what, 1 year now? So time will tell in terms of the actual service delivery and what is his legacy that he leaves behind after his first term.
Well, Kuhle, what we've got to remember is that the current vote share will stand until the next national election in 2029, unless there's a revote, which I think is going to be a bit of a stretch. I don't think anybody...
Also that possibility.
Yes, I know you mentioned, say, if it's hung
40 all. Because if it's 40-40, I didn't mention that part, is if it can't be decided via a coin toss, it literally has to go back to provincial elections just for the people of KZN.
Yeah. We've never had one of those. It would be quite interesting and maybe set a precedent, maybe a precedent that we need to have set. Maybe you have by-elections in wards. Why not have a by-election for the province? It could be quite an interesting thing. But if it doesn't happen, because I think everybody's going to try their best to not have it happen, we're stuck with the configuration we've got in KZN as well as Gauteng and a few other provinces where things are close, whether we like it or not, until 2029. So it's always good to get a reading of where we sit with some of our cities and some of our provinces, and nobody better than Kuhle to shed light on it. Kuhle, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you to everybody that joined us. Please subscribe to The Political Insider, and we will see you again soon. Thank you very much.